Pablo Picasso's artistic journey was not a linear progression, but a radical and relentless exploration of form, technique, and meaning. His career, spanning over 7 decades, witnessed a breathtaking succession of styles, each a distinct yet interconnected chapter in his artistic revolution. Analyzing Picasso's style requires acknowledging this multifaceted nature, moving beyond simple categorization to understand the underlying motivations and influences shaping his ever evolving aesthetic. Picasso's early training in Spain laid a foundation in academic realism, evident in his early works. However, a move to Paris and exposure to the poverty and suffering of the city's underclass profoundly impacted his artistic vision. This resulted in the Blue Period, 1901 to 1904, characterized by a monochromatic palette of blues and greens, depicting themes of loneliness, despair, and marginalized figures. The elongated forms, somber tones, and emotionally charged subjects reflect the influence of symbolist painters and a personal struggle with depression. The subsequent Rose Period, 1904 to 1906, marked a shift towards warmer tones, predominantly pinks and reds. While retaining a certain melancholic undercurrent, the subjects shifted to circus performers, harlequins, and impoverished families, portraying a more compassionate, albeit still somewhat detached, observation of human existence. The influence of classical sculpture and a growing interest in formal structure are evident in the more balanced compositions and simplified forms. Picasso's collaboration with Georges Braque marked a pivotal moment in art history. The birth of Cubism. Rejecting traditional perspective and representation, Cubism fragmented and reassembled objects, presenting multiple viewpoints simultaneously. The analytic Cubism phase, 1908 to 1912, emphasized the deconstruction of forms into geometric planes, using a limited palette of browns and grays. The paintings became increasingly abstract, focusing on the interplay of lines and shapes rather than recognizable imagery. The viewer is challenged to actively participate in reconstructing the image from fragmented perspectives. Synthetic Cubism, 1912 to 1914, represented a shift towards a more simplified and colorful approach. Collage elements, such as newspaper clippings and wallpaper, were incorporated, adding texture and a sense of everyday reality to the abstract compositions. The forms became more clearly defined, and the palette expanded, reflecting a move towards a more playful and less austere aesthetic. This period demonstrates Picasso's mastery of manipulating materials and his ongoing exploration of the relationship between painting and reality. Picasso's artistic exploration didn't end with Cubism. He embraced diverse styles throughout his career, demonstrating an astonishing versatility. His neoclassical phase, particularly evident in the 1920s, saw a return to classical forms and a focus on balanced compositions and idealized figures. This period, however, still retained a distinct Picasso touch, often incorporating elements of distortion and fragmentation, preventing a complete return to traditional academic styles. The influence of surrealism is evident in his later works, particularly in his exploration of dreamlike imagery and the subconscious. His paintings often featured distorted figures, bizarre juxtapositions, and a sense of unease, reflecting the influence of surrealist artists like Miro and Dali. However, Picasso's surrealism remained uniquely his own, never fully embracing the movement's automatic techniques, but rather using its principles to explore themes of desire, violence, and the complexities of the human psyche. Picasso's later works continued to demonstrate his restless experimentation. He revisited earlier styles, incorporating elements of Cubism, surrealism, and even classical influences into his mature paintings and sculptures. His prolific output included a vast range of subjects, from portraits and still lifes to monumental canvases depicting historical events and personal narratives. His late works often exhibit a bolder, more expressive style, with a heightened sense of color and movement. A core element across many of his styles, particularly Cubism, involves breaking down forms and reassembling them in unconventional ways, presenting multiple viewpoints simultaneously, challenging traditional notions of perspective and representation. Intentional distortion of forms, moving away from realistic representation towards abstraction and symbolic expression. A constant preoccupation with the manipulation of form and the creation of dynamic spatial relationships. Picasso's command of line and composition is evident throughout his career, creating visually compelling and intellectually stimulating works. Even in his most abstract works, a strong emotional undercurrent is often present, reflecting his personal experiences and observations. His willingness to constantly experiment and reinvent his style, defying categorization and pushing the boundaries of artistic expression. In conclusion, Picasso's artistic style cannot be defined by a single label. His career was a testament to his relentless pursuit of innovation, his ability to absorb and transform influences, and his profound impact on the course of 20th century art. His legacy lies not only in the individual masterpieces he created, but also in his demonstration of the artist's capacity for continuous evolution and the boundless possibilities of artistic expression. Analyzing his work requires appreciating the interconnectedness of his various phases, recognizing the underlying themes and motivations that drove his creative genius, and acknowledging his enduring influence on generations of artists.